Braided ribbons in her hair, said don't forget to write. I kissed her at the county line, then vanished in the night. The war was long, the drink was cheap, the letters never came. And when I rode back home again, the wind forgot her name. The porch was split, the shutters gone, the gate hung off one chain. The garden grew like no one cared, just weeds and morning rain. A neighbor said she waited, son, then faded like a star. They buried her in borrowed ground behind that burned out bar. Now there's ashes where her name was, smoke where prayers once stood. I traded love for dust and flame and called it for good. Now every step I take alone just breaks what's left of me. There's ashes where her name was, and that's all there'll ever be. I found her locket in a drawer, still stained with southern pine. Inside a picture young and warm, back when the years were kind. I swore I'd build her better days, but lost them in the fire. Chased glory down a hollow trail and buried my desire. Now there's ashes where her name was, smoke where dreams once lay. I told myself I'd come back home, but always lost the way. Now every trail just circles back to what I didn't see. There's ashes where her name was, and that's all there'll ever be. If I had one more night with her, I wouldn't speak of fate. I'd hold her hand in silence and never show up late. But ghosts don't give out second rounds, and time don't spare regret. She loved me through the thunder, I just never paid the debt. Now there's ashes where her name was, and silence in her room. The walls still smell of lavender, but carry too much gloom. And when they lay me in that ground, I hope she'll wait for me, where ashes turn to starlight and love might finally be. They came at dusk with faces wrapped in cloth and bloodied pride, burned our barn, hung Pa from rope, shot Ma right where she cried. I hid beneath the floorboards, breathing smoke and prayerless dust. They laughed and left a child alive and left the ground to rust. The sheriff drank and turned his face, said, "Son, that's how things go. You're just a kid, forget their names, and time will make it slow." But hatred grows in silent soil, and I grew mean and lean. By 21 I'd carved a list and sharpened every dream. Now ride the wind and hold your tongue. The devil wears a badge, and boys who lose their blood too young don't age, they only hatch. I learned to shoot by candlelight, to track by shattered glass, and when I wrote, the sky turned black. the boy came back at last. I found the first in Silver Rock, drunken twice the size. He reached for steel, I shot too fast, the bullet kissed his eyes. The second begged in Spanish tongue, I let him crawl and pray, then whispered Ma's last words to him and turned the dust to clay. The third wore lawman's silver star and smiled like he was clean, but filth don't wash with water cold, it stains the soul unseen. He drew on me inside the church with Bibles at his feet. I rang the bell with every shot and sent him home to me. So ride the wind and count the cost. A child's tears turn to steel, and when the past comes calling back, it never comes to kneel. No mercy grows in soul like mine, no justice lives in glass, and every man who watched me burn, the boy came back at last. Light with eyes half closed, my gun a breathing friend. They say revenge don't heal a soul, it only knows the end. But I still see Ma in my firelight and Pa behind the door, and every night I ride that road to settle ghosts some more.
Rode into town with a bounty on my name, dust on my boots and a heart full of flame. She stepped from a carriage all diamonds and lace, a world apart, but I saw her face.
They warned me about men with the devil in their eyes, but I loved how he smoked and told outlaw lies. He said he'd been chased from the border to the sea, but under the moon he belonged to me.
We burned like whiskey on a preacher's tongue. Wrong kind of love, but it felt so young. Golden gunpowder, that's how we fell, riding straight through the gates of hell. She hid my guns in her father's hall, fed me lies to feed the law. But love's a game with a fatal stake, and I couldn't tell what was real or fake.
I stole the keys and I'd steal again for a kiss from that boy with blood on his hands. But Daddy found out and the fire was lit. He put a price on the love I can't forget.
We burned like whiskey on a preacher's tongue. Wrong kind of love, but it felt so young. Golden gunpowder, that's how we fell, riding straight through the gates of hell. They caught me at dawn, 6 guns drawn. She watched from the window till I was gone. No words, no tears, just a pearl on her neck, and the noose swinging slow from the gallows dead.
I wore black silk for the rest of my years, drowned my guilt in smoke and tears. But love don't die, it carves in bone. Now I drink with ghosts and sleep alone.
ashes and pride, two names carved where the outlaws ride.
I came home to an empty field, the house was set in flame. My woman lay in ashes and the wind just spoke her name. The lawmen said it's bandits, son, best let the dead ones rest. But peace don't fill an open grave and fire don't leave a chest. I rode out to the preacher's cross, the one with rusted nails. I carved her name into the wood, then cursed God when I failed. By midnight came a stranger's voice, it whispered through the rain. Said, if you want your vengeance, boy, just let me share your pain. Now I got blood upon my hands and darkness in my veins. The devil keeps his in my friend, but always charges pain. He gave me names and sharpened aim and took my soul as pay. I thought I'd earn my peace in death, but I just bought hell to stay. I found the men one by one and shot them where they stood. They begged for grace like I once did, I gave them none or good. Their eyes all looked like hers did, wide and full of fire. Each death just lit another flame that climbed my funeral pyre. Now I got ghosts behind my eyes and lead where love once lay. He gave me wrath and steady hands, but never took the weight. I sleep beside a loaded gun and dream in shades of gray. He said I'd feel alive again, he never said I'd stay. I've seen the devil's crooked grin inside a looking glass. He wears my hat, he rides my horse, he don't forget the past. And every time the thunder cracks, I hear her voice real low. You ain't the man I loved, my dear, you're just the man I know. Now I got hell beneath my boots and nothing left to save. He gave me time to even scores, then dug myself a grave. So light a match and toss it down, don't weep and don't you pray. There's more than fire waiting here and a lot more hell to pay.
With a trembling hand in a candlelit room with a broken man, red eyes staring from across the game. He said, win this hand and forget your name. The cards came down like a hangman's song, 4 aces strong. I thought ain't nothing wrong. He grinned like wolves do right before the bite, then vanished in smoke with the dead of night. I thought I'd won, thought I slipped the news, traded guilt for gold and the devil's truce. But luck don't last in the silence caves when you're stacking chips on warmer graves. a flame-lit grin, and every wind felt paper thin. Tonight I heard boots outside my door, same cold shuffle I'd heard before. He said, boy, debts don't fade in time. You beat my cards, but not your crime. You can cheat the devil, you can bluff the flame, but hell still knows your given name. You can ride from wrongs, but not their weight. Cold cards fold, but never fade. Quiet, the fire's gone, only one chair left and I ain't on. He dealt me a truth with a rusted blade, now I'm just one more bet he made.
First time I robbed, it was need not sin. My baby was cold and the rent caved in. Slipped a note through the teller's hand. No gun, no threat, just a desperate plan. Second went smooth, third was gold. Felt the fire I thought I'd sold. By the fourth I had new boots and pride, new paint on the porch and whiskey to hide. But greed's a whisper with a silver tongue, says just one more with a loaded lung. I should have stopped when the sky turned pale, but the fifth ride was hell, and the devil rode my trail. Stood by a churchyard fence. I walked in dressed like consequence. Teller flinched, guard drew fast, and my whole damn world shattered like glass. Now I'm in stripes with dirt on my name. The judge said, girl, you're built for shame. They buried my baby the day I was tried. God don't speak when an outlaw cries. Greed's a fire you can't contain. It don't burn bright, it just leaves stain. If you ride for gold, ride light, ride well, or the fifth ride will take you straight to hell.
by the gallows tree, the noose still swinging slow. Her eyes were wide but full of peace, like she was glad to go. The sheriff tipped his blood-stained hat and said, "You'll walk away." But every step since that black dawn has cost me more each day. We met beneath the Southern Cross, where sins don't wash with rain. She stole my horse, I stole her heart, we shared a bed and name. We robbed the train near Mexico, the law was on our scent. She shot a man who drew too slow and swore it was self-defense. But justice don't wear mercy's face, and fate don't deal in gold. I gave her up to save my skin and let that secret mold. Now every mile the wind cuts through, it whispers what I've known. A man can outrun many things, but the devil rides alone. I drink in bars that don't ask names and sleep with one eye wide. I dream she stands in prairie dust, still bleeding from my life. They say her ghost walks Dead Man's Ridge with rope burns on her neck. And every time the thunder rolls, I feel her cold regret. 'Cause justice don't wear mercy's face, and fate don't deal in gold. I gave her up to save my skin and let that secret mold. Now every mile the wind cuts through, it whispers what I've known. A man can outrun many things, but the devil rides alone. So lay me down near Black Crow Hill, no name carved in the stone. Don't sing no hymn, don't light no flame, just let the cold wind moan. For I have loved and I betrayed, and now I make atone. The grave don't judge what can't be saved, and the devil rides alone. They said I died in Bitter Creek, but I just held my breath. Slipped the rope and took the wind, been running since from death. He rides a horse as black as coal, with eyes that never close. And when he finds the name he wants, he don't ride in slow. I seen him once in Deadwood's dust, his shadow long and lean. He tipped his hat and smiled at me, the grin was cold and clean. I left my boots in that old town, ran barefoot through the night. You don't make deals with bone and smoke, you only buy more time. And I've been riding, I've been hiding through desert storms and snow. But the Reaper don't lose names, my friend, and the Reaper don't ride slow. I've crossed 10 states and lost my fate in towns I'll never know. But the wind still whispers just one truth: the Reaper don't ride slow. I drank with saints and laid with thieves. I begged, I bled, I lied, but death just watched with patient eyes and stayed there by my side. One night in Kansas full of stars, I asked him for a choice. He said, I don't take pleasure, son, I only hear the voice that calls your name when time runs dry and silence starts to grow. You ran well, but the trail ends here. The reaper don't ride slow. So I quit running, quit my gun, and laid my shadow low. I met him like a man should do when the cold wind starts to blow. I carved my name in canyon stone where no one else will go, and the wind still hums my final song. The reaper don't ride slow. Dust kicks up beneath his boots, 6-shooter at his side, scarred heart wrapped in leather chaps, a ghost none dare abide. He rode in with a whiskey grin, outlaw naming every bar, but when the cards were dealt that night, he wagered more than scars. Dead man's drawing crooked kings, the devil deals his hand. Every promise in repeal washed away by desert sand. There's blood on the barroom floor and his tears stain the pine. A wanted man with a fractured soul, he's running out of time. When the sun burns red, high noon's call and crows begin to cry, he'll face the town that turned its back alone without goodbye. They called him friend, they called him kin, they toasted to his fame, but greedy hands and whispered lies would steal more than a name. One midnight raid, their bullets sang, tore through the silence thin, left his lady cold in an empty bed with his ring upon her skin. Cracked wood doors and tarnished spurs, the echoes haunt him still. He chases ghosts through canyon winds against his iron will. There's blood on the barroom floor and his ghosts in every chair, a broken heart and outlaw skin nailed to a cross of fear. When the moon hangs low on shattered dreams and vultures scent the trail, he'll draw his pain in final breath, no mercy for the frail. Behind a saloon swinging door and shadows stained with sin, he hears her laughter fade away, remembers who he'd been. With trembling hands he lights a match, sets fire to his past, burns the wanted posters high, no lawman's noose can last. Now he rides where coyotes howl, beneath the corridor of stars. His eyes reflect the distant flames that swallowed broken bars. He's half mist-sung in ballad tones, half sinner cast in dust, a legend
legend told in mournful chords of love betrayed and lust. There's blood on the barroom floor and his vow in every scar, a silhouette against the dawn, a fading outlaw star. When the winds of fate blow cold and still, and time calls down his name, he'll vanish where the horizons bleed untamed, without a claim. Carved the names on my rifle stock, everyone who watched me ride. Left for dead in a canyon grave, but I clawed my way out soul unshaved. He wore a star, but it meant nothing true. Sold me out for gold and a crooked crew. Took my kin and lit my name in flame. Now he's just a shadow waiting on shame. 12 steps at high noon, dust in the air, one breath away from the devil's stare. I ain't prayed since the gallows broke, but I got a bullet and an old dark oak. I rode in slow, black hat pulled low. Crowd parted like they'd seen a ghost. He stood tall, but his hands did shake. The truth weighs more than the lives you take. He said, you don't have to do this, son. I said, you should have thought that when you reached for your gun. The clock struck 12, I counted 1. Then fire spoke loud beneath the sun. 12 steps and one shot clean through the pride. He dropped like thunder, eyes open wide. They say revenge don't set you free, but justice don't ride unless it rides with me. Unless it rides with me. Now I drift town to town, no name, no ties, just a scar on my heart and smoke in my eyes. If you're wrong, a man, best dig 2 tombs, one for your soul and one for high noon. For high noon. Sound of the wind through the stones, where the graves are marked with rusted bones. My boots were cracked, my soul was thin. Still hear the screams from way back when I rode with men who feared no law. Build my name on what they saw, but blood runs cold when gold runs dry, and every oath ends in a lie. Bank just past the rise, guns drawn fast, no alibis. I saw the clerk reach for the bell. I shot too quick and down he fell. The kid beside me froze in place, his hand still soft, no hate on his face. I told him ride and don't look back, but
death was trailing in our tracks. By the devil's gate, I kept the loop and sealed my fate. They caught him near the canyon bend, hung him high to make it end. I drink by night in a barn gone gray, with wolves that don't bark and ghosts that stay. I feel their eyes when I try to sleep, the boy, the clerk, the lies I keep. Saddle creaks, it's like a voice from shallow peaks. Come down, it says you've had your run, but I ain't ready to face that gun. My horse is old, my rifle's worn, my heart's been hollow, cracked and torn. And when they come to dig my hole, they'll find no gold, just ash and coal. I was 13 with dust on my tongue. Learned to steal before I learned to run. Cold nights, hot wires, blood on the blade. Rode with a gang where mercy don't stay. Boss man said, kid, you got the hands. Taught me how to rob, how to bury a man. By 20 I was legend, cold and mean. Bank doors open like a dream, but she came in like a Sunday hymn. Eyes like smoke in a devil's grin. Said her name soft, Mary Jane Lee. She saw through the killer and straight into me. There's no easy way out when your soul's been sold. You can run from the fire, but the embers hold. Love lit the spark, but the gang lit the fuse. And a man with a past got too much to lose. I begged for a life, I bled for a name, but you can't outride the wheel of the flame. Tried to vanish with her in the early light. Left a note, left gold, left guns behind. But devils don't sleep and ghosts don't pray. They caught me quiet at the break of day. Boss man smiled, said you forgot the code. Then they aimed at her heart and I just froze. There's no